What's going on, my friends? Welcome back to Football, Folly, and Foresight. I go by the name of King Solomon, and today we got a very interesting story today because we have Chelsea defender Marcos Alonso coming out and saying, guess what? He will no longer be taking the knee before matches, right? Because he believes that the gesture is losing strength. Now, it says, this story comes from The Sun, and is saying that Marcos Alonso, he decided that he will no longer be taking the knee before games alongside his Chelsea teammates. He says that the strength of the symbolic anti-racism gesture is fading. It says that he decided that what he's going to do in the next games is that he's going to point to the Premier League emblem on his shirt. No room for racism. He's going to point to that. And he said, I prefer to do it this way. And of course, to say very clearly that I am against racism and I respect everybody. I'm fully against racism and against every type of discrimination. And I just prefer to put my finger to the badge where it says no to racism, as they do in some other sports and football in other countries. When questioned as to whether his choice concerned political reasons, the Spain fullback says, I don't know. I just prefer to do it this way. It's my way to do it. I think it's another way. Maybe I think it's losing a bit of strength the other way. So I just prefer to do it this way and to show that I am fully supportive of fighting against racism. Another player they said who has done that is Crystal Palace striker Wilfried Zaha. He became the first, he's black if you don't know. Wilfried Zaha became the first Premier League player to stop taking the knee after stating he believed that it was degrading. Also, Brentford's player Ivan Toney, I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, Ivan Toney, he decided that he's going to make his own personal gesture before games and he's not going to kneel along with the other players. And Alonso said that he has not conversed with other Chelsea players about the issue. And other of his players, Antonio Rudiger, Conte, Romelu Lukaku, and Reece James, they have been subjected to racially derogatory abuse online. So he said, you know what? Guess what? We're in the changing room. We are just one family. I didn't speak to them. And I'm just going to, I'm just going to point to the badge and just point to the sign that says no room for racism. That's what I'm going to do. What do I think about this? Do I think that Marcos Alonso is wrong for saying that he's not going to take the knee? Now, here's my personal opinion. Honestly speaking, I agree with him. I agree. I believe that all of this stuff is old. It has lost steam. Nobody can, listen, just hear me out for a second. Don't get all, start yelling and screaming and turning off the video. Hold on and listen. Just listen. I believe that when this whole incident started, this whole taking the knee took place because of what happened in the United States of the George Floyd incident and all of that stuff, and it wanted to highlight racism. But guess what? In my personal opinion, I don't believe by kneeling down and taking the knee and putting your fist up in there, I don't believe that does anything to stop dude in row A, seat 54 from yelling out racist chants. I don't think that has anything. That is not going to stop him from getting online and saying, hey, you, blah, 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 and spewing all his racism on Instagram behind behind an anonymous picture on Instagram. That's not going to stop him from doing that on Twitter. You know what? Because guess what? Somebody who's racist, guess what? They're just racist. They're not gonna, you aren't gonna be able to really change their mind. They're not gonna see you take the knee and say, you know what? I see Romelu Lukaku taking the knee. I see Marcus Rashford taking the knee. Oh my goodness, I see Jesse Lingardinho taking the knee. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't be racist. No, that is not gonna happen because racist people are just gonna be racist. I think this whole taking the knee thing, you know why? Another reason that I think that this whole taking the knee thing probably should stop and is probably very ineffective. Why? Because I think it takes away from the real issues of racism. Because you will do that no matter who you are as a player, whether you be white, black, pink, purple, whatever. You as a player, and you get up and you say, well, I did my deed for the day in my fight against racism. And guess what? The league is also, all these leagues around the world, when the players, whoever do that in these leagues, when they do this, guess what? These leagues will say, yep, we're doing enough to fight against racism. We're doing our job. Look at what we're doing. We're campaigning against racism. No, because guess what? Look at in the Premier League. I believe, if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, there's only 2 coaches of color in the Premier League, right? Look at all these leagues around the world. There's not a lot of black coaches that you see, and not a lot of coaches of color that you see in a lot of these top leagues. Another thing to note too, because guess what? Don't you think that in the hierarchy of these clubs, not just the fans that might be racist, do you think that probably people in the boards of these big clubs are racist? I believe so too. Yes, people are just racist. That's what people are. Do you think that, I remember watching this documentary. It's a documentary on Amazon. It was a documentary that came out a couple years ago about La Liga. And there was a coach, I forgot his name. I'm probably going to put his picture up when I remember. But there was a coach. He was a coach recently in the last year or two. He was the coach of Sevilla. And he was the coach of Girona at one point. But I remember that this guy on the this was a documentary on Amazon Prime. You can go watch it. I'm going to put up the thing so you can go check it out. It was a good documentary. But this guy in the documentary, he's actually saying racist stuff about his own players. He's on the field and he's watching his players play, and he's talking about how, they're taking long to come back, and when you have these type of guys on your team, he's saying, like, literally saying openly racist stuff right in the middle of the training. And like, this is caught on the documentary. Like, this dude is just being racist. That's probably what happens a lot of times. There's probably a lot of racist incidents that's said and does not come out in person that you probably haven't heard that happens behind closed doors. Racism is everywhere. You know what? And so I think that just standing or kneeling down and taking a knee, I think it's ineffective, because guess what? It just makes you think as a person, yep, this is what we're doing in the fight against racism. We don't have to do anything else. This is all that we're doing. I think it's old. I think it's played out. I think that, you know what? Shout out to him. Shout out to Wilfred Zaha for saying, I think it's degraded. Me, personally, I wouldn't have done it in the first place. I do think that's degraded. I think that's just dumb. Why do I have to kneel down? Why do I have to copy somebody else's, their slogan? Because that's literally what it was. Let's try to copy what the Black Lives Matter movement is doing. And, that's a whole nother video in and of itself. But let's try to copy off of them and let's do this and blah, blah, blah. Nah, I don't want to do that. I think it's dumb. Shout out to Marcus Alonso for saying, listen, let's have a real conversation about racism. Let's do that instead of this kneeling dumb bull nonsense, right? And let's focus on some real issues, and let's actually do what we need to do to actually combat real racism. Let's really do that instead of this kneeling nonsense, because this is not effective. We can do it another way. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree with Marcos Alonso? Do you think that, this kneeling stuff is dumb? Do you think that, like, there should be another way to combat racism? Do you think that the kneeling is ineffective? Or do you say, yes, I believe that we should still kneel and blah, 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 blah? What do you think? I would love to know what you think about this issue. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I want to know. Let me know in the comments section down below. But as always, thank you so much for watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Like the video, please, please, please like the video. And I'll see you on the next one. This is King Solomon, and I'm out.